Hey there, AI enthusiasts and privacy conscious minds. Welcome to my talk, and thank you so much for tuning in. And a huge thank you to Geekle for letting me take part in the AI Transformation Summit today. So, my name is Amanda Hunter, and I am a digital marketer with a real love for blending technology and creativity. And of course, I have a huge interest in AI. So, today I wanted to talk about the role of AI in cookieless tracking and how brands can really survive in a privacy first world. So, before I start, I wanted to have a quick reality check and ask everyone a question. When a cookie banner pops up on a website, do you instinctively click accept all? Are you more of a reject non essentials or perhaps even a decline all cookies kind of person? If you're here, I think chances are you think about privacy, data integrity, and the digital landscape a bit more than most, which I'm thinking means you probably click no thanks or at least decline all non essential cookies. Hopefully, I'm right in that assumption. So, those third party cookies, those tiny trackers that follow us around the internet, I get it. They can be super frustrating, but they're still part of life online. Whether we like it or not, browsing the web means that we're constantly deciding on how much data we're willing to share. And while you may have heard that cookies are on their way out, the reality is unfortunately a bit more complicated. So, despite the buzz, cookies aren't gone just yet. They're still deeply embedded in online tracking, but hopefully not for too much longer. The phase out of third party cookies is well underway, making it one of the biggest shifts in digital marketing history. So, in this session, I'd like to explore why third party cookies are disappearing. Also, what a privacy first future looks like, and most importantly, how I think AI is stepping in to reshape digital tracking in a way that makes it smarter, more ethical, and really built for the modern web. So, by the end of my talk, which should take around 30 minutes, I hope that you have a clear understanding about how AI driven privacy first solutions are changing the way that we collect and use data, and it's keeping us secure and also keeping that user trust intact. So grab a coffee or perhaps a matcha latte, those are my favorite, and get comfy and we'll dive right in. So, the digital world has been on a bit of a wild ride lately, and this is all thanks to concerns about privacy or data protection. With data breaches making headlines and hackers lurking, regulators around the world have stepped in with new laws that are forcing companies and marketers to rethink how they collect and use our information. So, before we get started, let's take a quick journey through the evolution of digital privacy in the past 7 to 8 years. So, back in 2018, the European Union introduced GDPR and it completely changed how companies handle personal data. I'm sure you remember when this came in, it was super frustrating. And then in 2020, Google made waves when it announced that it had plans to phase out third party cookies, and this really sent shockwaves through the advertising world. And by 2021, Apple raised the bar by adding app tracking transparency, and this required apps to ask for permission before tracking users. And meanwhile, Safari and Firefox, yay, Safari and Firefox, have already been ahead of the curve and they have blocked third party cookies by default. But then came some delays. In 2022, Google pushed back on its timeline, and by 2023, regulators were watching closely. And by 2024, Google finally started phasing out cookies in small groups of Chrome users, aiming for a full rollout by the end of the year. But then, in the middle of last year, came another twist. In July 2024, Google made a big announcement. They weren't fully removing third party cookies just yet. Instead, they decided to keep them around a little bit longer, but giving us as users more options to control our privacy settings. So, while the phase out of third party cookies by Google wasn't canceled, it's not happening overnight either. And there is no new date set for third party cookies ending just yet. Google told us that this delay was necessary to strike a balance between privacy and the needs of advertisers and publishers. Um, but even with this change and plans, they're still moving forward with new initiatives such as Privacy Sandbox. And this is helping to work on ways to create new privacy friendly alternatives. But not everyone is happy with this delay. A lot of privacy advocates and regulators have raised concerns about tracking and data protection in 2025, and they are really pushing Google to end third party cookies for good. So now we're here, it's in March 2025, and third party cookies are still well in use, but Google is slowly working on replacing them. Through Privacy Sandbox, they're testing new ways to balance privacy with personalized advertising. So, what does this mean for marketers and brands? At the end, with the end of third-party cookies, whenever that might actually happen, marketers are going to be losing one of the biggest tools that powers targeted advertising. But there's an upside. It's also a huge opportunity to innovate. And that's where AI and privacy friendly solutions come in. And they're helping marketers to build smarter, more ethical ways to connect with their audiences. So, in 2025, we are navigating one of the biggest shifts in digital marketing. It's the slow but inevitable move away from third party cookies. While privacy is taking center stage, regulations like GDPR and the CCPA continue to tighten rules about how companies collect and store data. This shift isn't just about regulations, it's really being driven by user demand. People want more control over their personal data, and they expect companies to be transparent about how their information is being used. And that means businesses need to rethink their marketing strategies now to stay ahead in the world where trust and privacy matter more than ever. All right, so let's talk about the end of third party cookies and how it is shaking things up for brands, for companies, and marketers. So, first off, personalization and targeting are taking a big hit. Without third party cookies, we lose a lot of detailed browsing data, making it much harder to serve up ads and content that truly feels personalized. And then there's ad measurement and attribution. So, tracking a user's journey across different channels is becoming a big challenge without that reliance on third party cookies. It makes it a lot harder to know how well a campaign is performing and what kind of return on ad spending we're actually getting. And let's not forget about our personal favorite in the digital marketing world, retargeting. So, brands used to rely on cookie data a lot to reconnect with visitors based on past interactions. But without that data, this strategy just unfortunately isn't as effective anymore. So, in short, the old way of doing digital marketing is fading fast, and we need to really get together and rethink how we track, how we target and engage with our audiences. So, let's break down the impact on brands and marketers. So, one big worry is about the effectiveness of data driven strategies now. In fact, about 70% of marketers believe that digital advertising could actually take a step backwards without third party cookies. Also, around 61% of marketers still rely heavily on third party data, which shows just how big of a change this deprecation really is for the industry. So, what's next? Now that third-party cookies are well on their way out, we all need to search for new ways to track and understand our audiences. But instead of seeing this as a roadblock, I think it's actually driving a lot of cool innovations. And I'm seeing new technologies, especially in AI, and they're really stepping up with smarter, more privacy friendly solutions. So, cookieless tracking is making a big step forward, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's monitoring user behavior without that reliance on traditional third party cookies. And it comes with some huge benefits. First, it boosts user privacy by reducing reliance on third party data, directly addressing those growing concerns about how our personal information is being used. Second, it's helping companies stay compliant with all of those loads of global privacy laws, and it's making sure that tracking methods that we're using are following the rules. And finally, as major browsers move away from cookies, this approach allows us to, as marketers, to adapt and continue tracking effectively without disruption. So, while losing third party cookies might seem like a challenge at first, I think it's actually opening up the door for more innovative, privacy first marketing strategies, and I already see this happening. Research predicts that nearly 80% of online interactions in the next couple of years will take place without third party cookies. And this is a really massive shift in how marketers are connecting with their audiences. So, with cookies crumbling, we need a new way to understand our audiences without crossing privacy lines. So, enter AI, our new upgrade that is set to deploy a patch on the old tracking model. So instead of following users around like an overzealous bot, AI is powering cookieless tracking, and this is really harnessing real time behavioral data, contextual signals, and secure first party interactions to help build a rich picture of user engagement. So let's break down the key modules of this transformation. First, we have behavioral pattern recognition. So imagine that AI functions like a sophisticated debugger, and it's analyzing every scroll, every click, and every hover in real time without logging any of your personal data into a central server. It's like using machine learning to optimize an algorithm on the fly, and it's predicting user intent purely on behavior. It's quite cool. And then we also have contextual targeting, which I think is one of my favorites. And while it isn't a new idea, it is simply being refactored for modern tech. So instead of digging into historical data, AI is scanning the content of the web page you're viewing. For example, if you're immersed in an article about quantum computing, the AI can instantly surface ads for high performance computing gear. And it's all about matching the ad to the moment and making sure that it's relevant and it's precise, much like a perfectly tuned regex. Thirdly, we have federated learning. And now this is where we're really getting into the deep next level machine based learning. So, federated learning allows AI models to train on data distributed across many devices, keeping that data on each device and never sending it to a centralized server. So you can think of it as collaboratively building an open source project where every contributor's code stays secure, yet the overall system learns and evolves. And then finally, we have first party data enrichment. So this is super important because most brands already have a treasure trove of first party data from their websites. So this could be CRM systems, email interactions, and much more. And AI can take this raw data and enrich it by connecting those dots to really create detailed customer profiles without compromising on privacy. It's about turning the data you own into actionable insights, much like optimizing a database query to retrieve exactly what you need. So, in essence, AI is transforming digital marketing from a stalk and track approach to a nuanced, content driven engagement strategy. And I think the shift is as radical as moving from local server installs to a seamless cloud based platform. It's a complete system overhaul and it's built on efficiency, scalability, and a genuine respect for user privacy. Um, AI powered contextual advertising is making a strong comeback, and I think this stuff is super cool. So, just like cookie based tracking, it now analyzes web page content in real time to determine the most relevant ads. But it goes far beyond simple keyword matching. AI has evolved. With advanced natural language learning processes and computer vision, AI now understands not just the words on a page, but the full context, the full sentiment, and the full intent. Super cool. So, if someone is reading about, I guess, sustainable fashion, for example, they will see an ad about eco friendly clothing, not just something from a random apparel shop. And the best part, I think, is this AI powered contextual targeting is fully privacy compliant. So there's no cookies, there's no personal tracking, and it's completely in line with all of those regulations. So ads also feel more relevant because AI ensures that they're a natural fit with the content, and it's creating essentially a seamless experience. So that means higher engagement since the ads are intrusive and they actually make sense in context, which is leading to better click through rates. Um, all right, so I just wanted to show an example about how contextual targeting is working in the real world in 2025. So a company I like is Cognitive and their Context GPT platform in AI. So this platform is changing the game. It's really using all of those large language models and deep learning to analyze web content in real time, almost like a human reading and understanding context, sentiment, and tone. And the result is companies that use this are seeing that their ads are being placed in locations that actually make sense. And it's keeping everything relevant without relying on those evasive cookies. And the impact that brands are seeing from using this technology has been huge. An example is a major beverage brand that set out to connect with Gen Z. And this is an audience that definitely values their privacy and authenticity. So traditional advertising wasn't cutting it, so they turned to Context GPT to help them craft messaging that felt natural and aligned with Gen Z's lifestyle. So you can think adventure, spontaneity, and new experiences. But here's the key difference. Instead of relying on personal data, Context GPT used real time, context driven content to create ads that resonated without crossing any privacy lines. It also tested multiple creative variations on the fly, which is super cool. And it optimized each version for maximum engagement. And the results were quite impressive. So, this company saw a 23% boost in video completion rates and an 80% surge in click through rates. Essentially, an A B test where every version was winning. So, I see it as proof that smart, privacy first advertising isn't just the future, it's already here. And as we move through 2025, third party cookies, yes, they're still around, but they are fading fast. And this shift is completely changing how us as marketers are tracking user behavior and measuring our conversions. Um, so, with traditional cookie based tracking becoming less reliable, the big question that we're pondering a lot, and I've been thinking about, is how do we still measure what's working through our advertisements and marketing campaigns without third party cookies? And I think the answer is AI driven cookieless attribution. So instead of tracking users across sites, we can use machine learning to analyze multiple data sources. So your first party data, those contextual signals, and also real time interactions. And we can bring these together to build a full picture of the customer journey. So here's how it works. First, we start with the data collection. So we start by gathering everything we can from first-party sources, such as website visits, CRM data, any impressions, or even offline interactions. And then we go to data integration. So then we put this all together to create a single unified view. And this is where identity resolution and probabilistic matching come in to fill the gaps. And then we have the journey reconstruction and attribution analysis. And this is where AI steps in to map customer journeys, analyzing patterns and assigning a value to each interaction based on its impact on conversion. And then finally, it kind of comes into a feedback loop. So we have optimization feedback. So the model is continuously refining itself, giving marketers real-time insights to tweak campaigns and also maximize their ROI. So all while staying privacy compliant. I like to think of this as an upgrade, not just a workaround for the loss of cookies. I think with AI-driven attribution, we're actually getting a more accurate privacy-first way to measure performance and optimize our marketing strategies. So, we also need to find out new ways to personalize experiences without relying on all of this third-party data. And the good news is there's so much we can do with our first-party data. And by combining this first party data with AI, we can really get a better understanding of customer behavior and create marketing that feels more relevant and personal, all while respecting privacy. So it first starts at the data collection and management level. So at this level, we can gather data from websites, mobile apps, and even our in-store visits, and also information or context that the sales team is working on. And we can bring this together to ensure accuracy and alignment with privacy regulations. Next level is AI-driven analytics. And this is where AI steps in to process this data to identify trends, predict customer behavior, and inform us on personalized content and recommendations. And then finally, we have at the final top level, we have that real-time personalization. So AI tools analyze interactions as they happen. So this is great because it allows us to instantly adjust our messaging and offers based on customers' behavior in real time. And I absolutely love this approach because it proves that we don't have to choose between personalization and privacy. By integrating AI with first-party data, we can really create some smarter, more dynamic marketing that really connects with our customers without crossing any privacy lines. And I really see this as a win-win for brands and marketers and consumers alike. And of course, as privacy laws keep getting stricter, AI cookieless tracking is stepping in to help with smart, privacy-friendly solutions. And here's how I think it's going to make a real difference. The first is AI party data processing helps brands personalize experiences using data that customers willingly share. And then federated learning and edge computing come in because data can get processed directly on a user's device instead of being stored in a central system. And this really reduces privacy risks. And then we have differential privacy and encryption. So AI anonymizes the data that we're collecting so individuals cannot be identified. And finally, of course, we have one of my favorites was contextual targeting. So instead of tracking people, AI is analyzing web content to serve more relevant ads and keep marketing effective without evading privacy. And here's a fun fact. In 2025, global spending on AI-powered privacy and security solutions is expected to top $30 billion. So that's a clear sign that businesses are going all in on privacy-first innovation. And I absolutely love this shift because it proves that we can deliver personalized, relevant experiences while staying fully compliant. I think it's another big win-win for customers and consumers alike. So, welcome to March 2025, a year where digital marketing is no longer what it used to be. The days of relying on third-party cookies are behind us, and AI has taken the lead in how we track, measure and optimize customer journeys. So right now, 80% of marketers are using AI in their daily flows. Actually, 88% of marketers. So it's really not just a nice to have, but it is a necessity to use AI. And why? I think this is because cookies are gone or soon to be gone, so we need to find smarter, more dynamic ways to understand our audiences. And this shift is pushing companies to really rethink their entire approach to digital marketing. So instead of passive tracking, we're seeing AI driven models that analyze first party data, predict behavior, and provide that real time attribution, all while respecting user privacy. So the cookieless future, again, it isn't a challenge, it is a turning point. AI is not just filling the gap left by cookies, it's creating new, awesome, exciting opportunities to build better. And it's helping us to become more transparent in our customer relationships. So, what are the big trends in the future? Let's just take a closer look. So, as we move beyond invasive tracking, here are some key trends I think are shaping digital marketing in late 2025 and beyond. So, first we have hyper personalization without the creep factor. So, imagine AI delivering ultra personalized experiences based on real time context and first party data. So, no more shady tracking, just smart, relevant engagement. So it's like walking into your favorite coffee shop and the barista already knowing your go to order. And it's not because they followed you home, it's because of your past direct interactions with the company. And platforms like Dynamic Yield are making this happen. So if you visit an online store using Dynamic Yield, the homepage instantly adapts to showcase products you actually care about, all without tracking you across different sites. It uses AI, data science, and great UX, and it's bringing these together seamlessly. And then we also have predictive analytics. So think about AI so advanced it almost feels psychic. So by analyzing sudden patterns in user behavior, predictive analysis can anticipate what customers might need next. It's kind of like a smart assistant finishing your sentences before you even type them out. And this really takes customer engagement to an entirely new level that is powered by real time insights. And of course, we have AI powered content creation, which has been huge in 2024 and 2025. So, marketing content is getting a serious upgrade through content creation through AI. AI is generating everything through engaging product descriptions to ad copy to even full length articles. But this isn't going to replace human creativity. It's about amplifying our creativity. So AI can really handle a lot of the mundane, repetitive tasks so we can focus on strategy, storytelling, and real big picture innovation. And there's a bit more. Advertising isn't just making advertising smarter, it's making it more privacy friendly too. So, if you take contextual targeting, for example, companies like GumGum are using AI to analyze web page content, so both the text and the images, to determine the most relevant ads to display without using any personal data. So instead of following users around the internet with cookie-based tracking, GumGum understand AI understands the context of what everyone is engaging with in real time. And AI isn't just changing how ads are placed, it's also transforming how campaigns are managed. So, automated AI driven systems can analyze massive amounts of data in real time. So, adjusting bidding strategies, optimizing budgets, and personalized content on the fly. So, you can think of this as a marketing strategist that essentially never sleeps and is constantly fine tuning those marketing campaigns for better engagement and return on investment. And I think what excites me most about this shift is it proves that digital advertising doesn't have to be evasive to be effective. AI is showing us that brands can respect user privacy and drive meaningful results. So it's really setting a new, smarter standard to digital marketing. So, if you're wondering how your business and your marketing can not only survive but thrive in this cookieless future, here's a bit of an action plan you can think about. So, first, I'd recommend doubling down on first party data. So, look into your website, your emails, your signups, your CRMs. I see these really being as your golden tickets, and you can start focus on building rich, direct relationships with your audience. Now is the time as well to encourage customer loyalty programs, interactive content, and direct engagement. Remember, third party data is not only more reliable, it's also privacy friendly. Secondly, invest in AI powered solutions. So, if your marketing strategy isn't already leveraging AI, it probably is, but it would be really time to really get on board, because AI can really help from advanced analytics to dynamic content personalization, and it really is becoming the backbone to digital advertising in the coming years. So you can explore platforms that offer contextual targeting. I mentioned a few, there's plenty more. And then you can also look at predictive analytics and also ones that look at real time behavior to help you grow your digital marketing campaigns without infringing on user privacy. And then finally, probably the most important needs to be said, stay compliant and transparent. Consumers today value transparency, so really embrace privacy regulations as an opportunity to build trust, to clearly communicate how you're using your data, and also give users the control of their information. I really think that brands that prioritize privacy aren't just following the law, they're really going to be winning in customer loyalty. So, my big takeaway from this presentation, if you go away with one thing, companies that adapt now will lead the charge in this new AI driven era. And those clinging to outdated methods might soon find themselves as obsolete as dial up in an internet in an AI 5G type of world. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you tuning in, and hope you enjoy the rest of the summit and look forward to connecting soon.